Welcome back, friends, to Visions, Veiled and Violent. Last episode, our merry band of Hanatas found themselves facing an angry townie who wanted my character, the jester mimic Jericho, as his prize for winning a carnival wrestling match. Our hulking friend Adewal stepped into the ring as a challenger to keep the local thug's grubby paws off my frills, ending the fight with a single throw. As I consoled the loser, our friend Moore, still plagued with disturbing visions, urged us to continue our search for the loot, awaiting us at the end of the treasure map we'd found in the Moonshine Shack. Passing along the trail from the carnival, we spotted a rare red-tailed hawk that seemed to be following us. When Moore used her druidic magic in an attempt to speak with it, we discovered that it was not a bird at all, but some construct. Disguised as one that seemed intent on spying on us, we chased it off with a bolt of flame before finding the ruins of an old homestead deep in the woods. From somewhere deep inside the well, we heard a faint cry for help.
Absolutely, let's get going and get down this well.
So where last we left the zatis, they had just dealt with a local braggart in the wrestling pits, showing the might of the Hanatas against some of the locals of Nevermore, and in the process also coming across a mysterious pirate of Mehrunes heritage who delivered a package to Lathander for safekeeping. However, before the rumors of Moore's manifestation of the precognition site got across the camp, the zatis headed off into the woods in search of the mysterious drop site identified on the smuggler's map that they found down at the ruined shack several episodes ago. Along the way, they came across what appeared to be a red-crowned hawk, but that was in fact some sort of sinister magical construct spying on them, and that after they drove off, came to realize that Mother Sylvenza's young ward Vezi had snuck ahead of them, having spied the map's location, and met them at the site of an old well in an abandoned farmstead, wherein they heard someone down in the depths of the well crying out for help. With that, we bring in the zatis to decide what they will do now.
Before we ended off that session, I wanted to find out if we could find out how deep this well is.
If you look down over the lip of the well, it seems that there's some scratches going down the right side of it, like someone's come down through various handholds all the way through. But in the darkness, when you peer a bit, you can see a bit of what looks like a bottom or some rubble about 10 feet down.
Oh. So, if I was hanging off the ledge inside the well, it wouldn't be that much of a drop from fingertips dangling to feet on the ground.
Is that our best move? So Lathander,
absolutely.
Let's just take a minute here. Let's think about this.
I think instinctively, Nevitz looks over his shoulder to make sure there's no non-Hanatas around before he casts magic. But he will cast magic. He will cast light on a pebble and chuck it into the well.
And as you chuck it down, it looks like you can see some old, decayed wooden bracings down in the depths of it, going all the way through. It looks like that there's at the bottom of the well, piled up in some rubble. It's all dry at the bottom, but it looks like there's a hole in the side of the well down at the base, large enough for a person to crawl through, or perhaps even walk through.
Nevitz, I'm gonna do something stupid.
Please don't.
What? Why don't we see who this gentleman is at the bottom of the well before we get all heroic?
If he's dangerous, I can just kill him.
You could.
I agree with Moore. If you go down, we have very little ability to pull you up. But if you would hold on to a rope and tie either myself or someone else to a rope, you could pull us up in an emergency.
Fine.
Luthander's going to say, well, wait, is Vezi nearby? Still eating the...
Oh, yeah, she's sitting there. She still has her bag of Humber nuts. She's about halfway through it now. Just picking them out one at a time and chewing them as she just watches the five of you silently.
Vezi, can you tell us exactly what you saw?
Okay, I'm sorry. I really thought you were going to tie Vezi to a rope and put her down. I was like, I will fly to Australia and kick your ass, Phil. Okay, sorry. I misjudged. Go on.
So, Vezi says, "Oh, well, there were people there, and there was a man. He had a beard and a brown face, and he was very, very scared. And then." It was just a bad thing. Can't really describe it. It's hard to say, but it's just like a feeling down there that was really scary. I'm glad I'm not going down there. She eats another nut.
So Luthander will look at Moore and say, does that sound like anything that your friend's girlfriend might have described at some point?
Weird feelings? Yeah, sure. Yeah, why not?
Could you describe, Vezi, when you say feeling, what do you mean?
Like it felt like it felt almost like being wrapped in a blanket. But like the blanket was too tight. It was just squeezing and no matter how you tried to wriggle, you couldn't get out of the blanket, and it kept getting tighter and tighter and tighter, and then it just stopped moving at all.
More. Sorry.
Yeah, go more.
Moore's gonna go to the well and just kind of lean over and just yell down, "What's your name?"
All right, and more. As you do that, give me a perception check.
19.
19. Okay, so more. So you go in there and you lean over the well and call out. What's your precise wording of this?
What's your name?
And
do I need to spell it out for you, GM? What's your name?
How do you punctuate that?
So as you call this out, you feel almost like a blink, but not with your eyelids, almost with your sight. And as you do, the world has all the color sort of bleed out of it. And as you look over the lip of this well, you see standing low, far lower than the 10 feet at the bottom of the well, almost like this endless chasm. You see that absence, that blank silhouette with the smoldering eyes look up at you, and it hisses back, "I have so many names, but you will not disturb the feast of my ill-begotten queen." And then you feel that blink again, and it's just you're at the bottom of the well, and you hear a mumbled echo, like whimpering sounds that just slowly fade out.
Okay. I see. Moore just kind of looks up to the sky and just like throws her hands out. I see how it's gonna be. Okay, fine. And she reaches into her pack and she's like, you chose the wrong girl, because you tell me not to do something, I'm gonna do it. And she starts tying a rope around her waist and walking over to Adewale and puts the rope in his hands.
Oh, rope.
Apparently, the queen needs a feast, and they told me not to disturb him. But you know what? They're gonna mess with me. I'm gonna mess with them. We're saving this guy.
I'm gonna say that we're all looking at each other like, whoa.
There's a lot going on right now that we only got half of. I think Nevitz kind of walks behind and just like, do you want me to be on your back? Do a second rope? I don't know what you're going through, but I don't think you should go down the well alone.
Sure. The more the merrier. We could just have a whole party down in the well.
Adewale, I'm afraid this 10-foot might be a false bottom. And so as a result, I think it's safer if you only lower 2 of us initially, or possibly 3, depending on if you feel strong enough to hold 3 of us.
Can I make a roll for that?
Sure can.
What would it be?
Athletics.
Absolutely. Big on. Oh yeah, that's a 17.
17. Yeah, that's more than enough.
For how many?
That's the question. So, Luthander or Jericho, do you want to go down as well? I want to keep it in a situation where it's 2 ropes and Adewale can pull them up at any point.
So Luthander's feet is alert, so he can't be surprised while conscious, which could be advantageous when landing at the bottom of a well with a passage directly in front.
Jericho's gonna grab another piece of rope and they start tying it around their waist as well. I guess, like, are we like jerry rigging multiple people tied to the rope or something? Or?
I like the sound of that. I see no problems with this plan.
Nevitz will stay untied. He's going to try to surf down on the back of someone else who's on a rope, either Jericho or Moore and or Luthander, if Adewale wants to try to hold 3 ropes. Before we
delve into this here,
Wait, this is a plan?
Adewale wants to find a spot to holster himself, to like dig his feet into and hold onto and like lean back, so that way his weight, which is 300, 400 pounds, I think, a pure muscle, by the way, just anyways.
Yeah, we worked that out.
So that his
He's
weight
got an 18
can
in
hold them
humility.
up withhold them without breaking his footing and without slipping. He's confident that he can hold it on because he'll wrap the rope around himself and wrap it around his hands too. So if they fall, he falls. But he wants to be able to not have that happen. So
Luthander,
can you make like a nature check to see if there's any kind of suitable footing?
Yeah, no, you see where it looks like you can kick away some of the dirt and dig in a little divot for each of your boot heels, and you should be able to brace yourself pretty effectively against the side of the well since it's held up this long.
So is Luthander going down by rope as well? Like, I definitely plan on sky skiing, on surfboarding, whatever, on one of you.
Luthander suggests one person goes down at the appropriate signal, which could be a scream, gets pulled back up if there's some really nasty stuff down there. But assuming it's a false... I assume it looks okay from up here, Nate. Otherwise, we wouldn't be this crazy plan.
I could cast dancing lights.
So when Nevitz threw his light pebble down there, it came to a solid footing, and then it pattered off to see a large opening towards the side of the well. So I'm assuming that right down below us is solid, and then to the side there's an opening.
Yep, that is definitely what it appears to be.
And does anyone have dark vision?
Good point. That is a very good point.
I do not. I can cast
Well, your
light,
light's
but
still active down there, right?
Yeah, it is. It is for an
So
hour.
there's light down there for
But
now.
also, do we think this guy is just sitting at the bottom of the well, or he's in the tunnel?
But we don't see him down there.
Yeah, because
Well, you've seen more than us.
well, Nate made his voice sound like it was distant, so it seems like he must be further away than 10 foot down, right? Nate, is that a fair?
That's a fair assessment.
Yeah, okay, let me go back. I want you to answer Kender's question directly. Can we see the dude 10 feet down, or is he
Definitely
not visible?
Yeah, no. Well,
Okay.
you can't see the person calling for help. Kendra certainly saw, or Moore certainly saw somebody.
Help. I need somebody. Help.
All right.
Just anybody.
Luthander would suggest it's easier to get one person out than a whole bunch of people tied up with a halfling hanging on the back of someone else. Let's get one person down there, if everyone agrees.
I somewhat agree with what you're saying, Luthander. I think it should be 2. I think it's
Okay.
I think I will go down hugging the back of Moore if she's adamant about going down in person. And I say this especially since the crawl space might require someone of smaller stature to go forward. Jericho?
Jericho gives a thumbs up and nods. appreciatively of the statement. I finish lashing the rope and pull it tight and kind of just put my hands on my hips and like look at everybody, like look down at the well.
And I think before Adewale starts lowering Nevitz and Moore down, he would just look over to Jericho and Luthander and give an eye over to Vezi, like the eye of, do not let this child follow us down into the well. If you do nothing else, tackle the child if she tries to do something silly.
We'll leave that to Luthander.
Luthander's an expert at safely intercepting kids and ensuring that no harm comes to them, and is picking up what you're putting down.
Then Nevitz will gingerly get onto Moore's lowered back, and we start getting lowered 10 feet.
Okay, and so as you lower down, in between eating the humber nuts, Vezi just calls out, "Oh, if you get the treasure, can I have some candy?"
Yes.
As a joke,
It just comes from the well. Yes.
Adewale will just like slightly, just like at the depth of the rope, just slack a little bit as I drop down like a few extra inches way too fast.
And so as Adewale does that, Moore's boots hit the bottom of the rubble at the well, and there's a loud as the debris gives way to the false floor beneath it, and you see the light pebble go tumbling down another 60 feet before the sound echoes back up the well.
Adewale digs his heels in as he feels this rope tighten exponentially, and just as he has it wrapped around his wrist, so it's digging into his skin as he holds on to this, and it's just grunting like, "I know none of you are strong like me, but please, for the love of God, help."
I'm gonna grab the side of the tunnel to try to hold on so it's not so heavy.
So Jericho, as you help to clamber up, the Moore, who's sort of dangling down there at the bottom, you see the light pebble skitter around, coming to a rest where it seems like there's actually a hewn rock floor at the very bottom of this, like some other older structure that the well was built atop.
I look down to what's below me and I whisper to Nevitz on my back, "It's just a bad time to say I'm actually really afraid of the dark," as I continue just holding my shit together.
It's never a bad time to speak truth. So as we see this pebble go all the way down, do we see anything there at the base, Nate? Besides a rough, a well-hewn floor?
It looks like the base, it actually expands out into some sort of larger structure.
Okay. I think Nevitz would give a squeeze on Moore's shoulder, and he would cast light on his scimitar. So the light at the bottom would go out, but there'd be a light right next to Moore, and he would try to shine that into this side gap and see if there's anything in the side hole that we had seen from the top.
So the side hole looks like it connects. There's a small dug-in, partially dirt, partially rock tunnel that looks like almost like some wild creature has been clawing its way through the earth. And at the far end, you can see what looks to be an old root cellar from the homestead.
I'm gonna swing over there, kind of get onto that ledge.
Make an acrobatics check for the swing.
Ooh, okay. That's an 18.
18. So, Jericho, describe your swing to go and jump into the tunnel.
Okay, so Jericho's because I guess I'm kind of suspended right next to the hole, so I just kind of kick off the wall, swing over, and then sashay and land on that ledge there and grab the side of the wall where the ledge is at. And I look down at the guys down below, because I'm kind of imagining they're below me, kind of lashed onto the rope, and then I'm dangling on the rope at a bit higher up. Is that kind of the vibe?
Yep. Just like the old movie Cliffhanger.
Yeah. So I'm slipping over there and then I hold onto the ledge there. Can I see anything down that tunnel there? Now that I'm closer to it?
After you sling yourself into there, using the tricks that your contortionist friends have taught you in the tent of tricks. You can peer in the darkness. It looks like there's some things that have been left sort of tumbled about there. Give me perception check there, Jericho.
That is a 19.
Ooh, yeah. So it looks like that you can spy where there's recent foot traffic that cuts through the dust and the dirt there, and it looks like the footprints converge around a piece of the wall where it looks like the bricks are loose, like someone could just pry them apart by hand.
I'm gonna like kind of wave my hand, and then like the burning text appears like behind like the entrance where it was at, and I said, I think we found where our culprit enters and exits. Maybe they're the one that trapped this man here.
I think whatever trapped this man here is something that is a little bit above our level. A queen, one might say. So I say we get this guy out and we get out.
Do we pull everyone down with us more, or do we three go forward?
Oh, I'm in charge. Okay, we swiftly, the three of us, grab and go.
With that, then Nevitz will try to jump from Moore's back into the cave entrance that Jericho is in, and then we'll try to pull Moore in. I think we leave the rope tied to Moore so there can be a quick, though very bruise-induced extraction if necessary.
Okay.
And so I think at this point I envision three of us in this side tunnel that's about 10 feet down.
Yep, and it smells of thick clay and wet and the damp, cold earth. And then as it gets out to expand into the abandoned root cellar, it's overgrown with all sorts of moss, and you can see where there's the shells of insects that have died over countless seasons. But sure enough, there's the path of footprints leading towards that loose collection of bricks in the wall.
Is there tunnel beyond the loose bricks that we can pull? It seems like we can pull aside. Like, is there does the tunnel keep going, or does it kind of end there?
It appears to terminate here in the cellar, but you do see there's both the root cellar doors. Looks like they've partially caved in, the rotten and stuck over the ages, and this loose brickwork here. This looks like it's been clearly disturbed of recent.
Nevitz will pass the light onto a pebble at our feet, and he will sheath his scimitar, and Nevitz will start pulling at the bricks.
So as you pull apart the bricks, they're loose enough to come by hand. Big chunks of old masonry that you move aside. There's rough, crude bricks, and in there, behind the loose stones, you see a smooth jar with a screw top lid that someone has taken what appears to be a grease pencil and written the word bribes on the side of it.
I'll ask the obvious question. What is in the jar?
You opening it?
Is it a glass jar or is it a steel jar? Can I not see inside?
It's a glass jar, but it's fogged and cloudy. It's dirty and well used.
Nevitz looks to Jericho and Moore. I'm a halfling. I will progress the story, but I don't want to kill all of us in a blast effect.
Can we do an Arcana thing or something to figure out is this some kind of suspicious thing?
Sure, make an Arcana check.
That's a 13.
You can't detect any sort of magical energies. There's no sense of the Everflow or the Zayathus anywhere immediately around this jar. Although there is that little tingle around the back of your neck that you're somewhere close to something that's been infused with magic, but it's not in this room.
I'll point to the jar, and then text appears on the jar. I'm I think it's safe to open.
Nevitz kind of waves for Jericho and Moore to step back, so there's no reason for all of us to get hit. I don't know if they do.
Yeah.
Nevitz kind of... He opens it. He opens the jar.
All right, make a strength check. It's a really tight jar.
Yeah, it's and we'll do this at a -1. So... 13. It's a natural 14 minus 1.
Ooh, so you get the little vein pop out in your forehead as you feel you actually feel that the cords in your forearm strain, and then it comes loose, and inside you see the jangle of coins and what looks to be a fairly recent piece of folded paper on the top of it.
I will pull the glowing rock out and unfold the paper and try to read if it says anything.
The paper seems to have a list of dates and other numbers that seem to roughly correspond with some sort of shipping operation.
Does it say where the operation is at?
It doesn't.
Nevitz passes the paper and the glowing stone over to Moore and to Jericho and reseals the lid of the jar. And I was going to see, does anyone have a backpack? Because apparently Nevitz does not. I do. I have a pack. So Nevitz puts it in his backpack and seals it up. But he lets Moore and Jericho see the presumably ledger of ill-gotten commerce. And then, he looks at both of them and says, "This doesn't account for the voice that we heard."
Okay. Where are you?
As your voice carries you hear the echo going through the root cellar and then emanating deeper and deeper down the well shaft.
Question.
Yes.
Yeah. So, knowing that assuming I would know, could feel by the tug of the rope that they're over in a certain way, is there a way to tell that there's a way down there from that cellar? From our area? From up top?
So if you look around there, it looks like that someone has thrown some brush over the old rotten doors of the root cellar. Like it'd be pretty easy to accidentally walk over it if you weren't careful. But there are some doors leading down to the collapsed cellar.
Is it accessible for all of us to get down there? Or get up?
It's a case where if you'd have to open the doors from the outside, but it would allow you to go in and out of the cellar.
Adewale, noticing the cellar doors, look at Luthander here and, "Hey, Luthander, favor if you would, please. There's a cellar over there under some not so organized brush, and if you open it from our side, they could get up easier, and I would not have to have rope in my wrist."
Okay. Luthander's going to go have a look.
And sure enough there, Luthander, you can see where it looks like, now that you get up close to it, this looks like someone has been using this as a stash recently, although it's hard to ascertain what exactly its purpose was.
Okay. So I can't tell much from looking at it. It looks safe to go through into the root cellar. Okay.
Just pop the sucker open, would ya?
So this is basically a cellar door that's covered in. So I'm going to check for traps first.
Okay. Make a perception check.
That is a 20.
20, sure. So it looks like there's no obvious trap mechanism on the door. It does look like it'd be dangerous if you accidentally walked on top of the doors, but there's nothing that looks like it's going to pop out and stab you.
All right, I'm going to try and open it.
Okay. Make a strength check.
So if you roll a natural 1 and you're a -1 on strength,
that'd be a 0. So
That's a 0.
That is pretty good. So I'm a 0.
So everyone down the root cellar hears this groan as the old rotten wooden doors shudder like they're possessed as Luthander yanks on them.
Nevitz sends a firebolt towards the noise.
Seeing him struggle to open the door because he's not as swole as Adewale. Is there a spot where Adewale can tie it so that way it doesn't slip into the well? Is there a spot where he can do that to just rip it open real quick?
Probably like a tree or something, right?
Yeah, you get around a tree stump.
Yeah, so Adewale will tie it up, and then he will come by and try to open this door. Please don't give it that one. Oh, yeah, 18.
18? Oh, so Adewale saunters over and
That's 18 better than a 0.
and then with one oomph, the doors fly open, the musty air hitting you like a slap in the face as the root cellar is opened up and the light floods down into the old moss-covered stones.
I loosened it for you.
Yeah, of course you did. Of course you did.
Team effort.
Nevitt, I found a door.
We see you.
We're
on the other side of the door.
Well, I'm assuming I'm looking downwards, not.
But yes, if you look down there, you see the root cellar with your 3 companions there.
Well, I don't need the rope anymore.
We still do, Adewale. Nevis will take off his backpack and hand it to Luthander and say, "There's good coin in here for the troop." And he looks to Jericho and Moore. I think there might be someone in need of help at the bottom of this well.
I'll repeat his help, like it's really faint and quiet, and point behind my back.
Well, not to be a buzzkill here, but didn't our own Vezi here say that he's gonna die soon anyways?
Listen, I am not helping this man out of the goodness of my heart, okay? Don't
I
get
know
me
that.
wrong. Okay, thank you. Doing it because somebody told me not to.
That sounds like you.
So we have to save this man.
I don't know about that.
Adewale, the best way for you to extricate us from this well is for you to go back up to the top and hold tight to the ropes. Luthander, will you stay with Adewale, or will you come down with us?
I can do either. Did you see... So I asked whether there's... Yeah, so Luthander's obvious question is, do you see a way down there? Or we just need to use a rope?
I have one spell that can allow all of us to go down, but it will not help us to ascend. So I think it's better that we go down by rope and come up the same way. And I don't know that Adewale can do more than 2 or 3 of us, with myself included in that 3. I would prefer him to pull us straight up out of the well as opposed to into a root cellar and then we're all trying to run away, if that makes sense.
It does. And it's about 60 feet. How long's the rope?
I don't think the GM has said how far down that thing goes.
But yeah, it's 60 feet.
Okay.
Yeah. My rope's 10 feet, so...
Okay. Is anyone else?
How long is hempen rope? It doesn't
50.
say.
I thought it was 50 foot. Was
Oh,
the
was it
default.
50?
I thought that's
right,
default.
Okay. That's 50. Okay.
Okay.
My mistake.
Always hamstringing yourself there. So.
Yeah, you're right.
Yeah, so I think we can almost get to the bottom.
Adewale would have already tied his rope into a very secure knot
Wait, so Foxy, was Jericho tied to a rope, or was Jericho just kind of
there.
parkouring down into the hole with Moore and Nevin?
No, she's definitely tied onto the side of the rope.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I don't know how to do this without splitting the party. It's the only way that we have an escape route is to split the party and have the strong guy pull us all back up. I'm willing to listen to other options.
Split the party, always.
Moore, you want death and ruination to come upon us.
Nothing ever goes wrong with a split.
All right.
I don't want to leave you alone, Nevitt.
Yeah. Ade, you're the only one who can bring us back up safely.
I know that, but still. Give me a sign if you ever feel danger, and I will jump. And I'll dolphin dive right in there.
I will make the sound of a dying giraffe if we need help.
I don't. What's a giraffe?
Do I have a dying giraffe noise saved, or?
Do you?
Do you?
Please demonstrate. I believe it.
I'm convinced.
Okay. Also, the other option is we can tie a rope to the top. I can feather fall us all to the bottom, and we can just slowly climb up after the fact. If we want to keep the party together.
No, that's true. Yeah. Let's do that.
And Nevis might even put that forward. If we tie the ropes together and give us 100 foot to climb back up, I can allow all of us to fall down relatively safely.
Let's do it.
More? Is that macabre enough for you?
It will do.
Is there a spot where Adewale can tie the rope that can hold that, where they can go down and
Tie it to Vezi.
Yeah.
I don't think so.
Yeah, there is a dead tree nearby the well, though, that you should be able to wrap around the trunk.
Yeah. So Adewale is going to tie on his rope and then dig around the base of the tree to where he can get under the roots.
Okay.
And tie around multiple roots. Looks at it. If you break, I break you.
I just looked. Featherfall does up to 5 people. Nailed it. It's my 1 first level spell for the day, so that's done. There's no more cure, so we're planning accordingly.
Right.
Yeah, that.
Adewale will give it a good yank just to test it.
And then the tree doesn't give?
Okay, cool.
Okay, I'm going to conceal the rope as best I can. I know it's tied, but to reduce the chance that someone cuts it. Vezi is, I assume, watching this and eating nuts.
Yep, she's incredibly entertained. This is the most exciting thing she's seen.
So literally, just to know how much we're risking for our lives, Nevitz wants to count the money in the jar.
So in the jar are 47 sills.
Okay.
Vezi, if you hear anything that isn't from this well but around you, and it doesn't sound like any of us or any other Blue Veil, hide very well, like you're playing the best game of hide and seek you've ever played. Okay.
And Nevitz will give Vezi the jar of sills and tell her, as Ade said, stay with us until you hear anything, then run as fast as you can to safety, and take the information you gather to the leadership of the Blue Veil troop.
Her eyes go wide and she nods as, I'll do exactly as you say.
I swear to the gods, I have counted the money. I know there's 47 sylphs in here. I will buy you candy later, but 47 sylphs will be had when we deliver this to the troop. Is that understood? And
yes,
I
absolutely.
will buy you confectionery afterwards.
I hear anything that's not Blue Veil troop, that's not coming from the well, run away with the sylphs, give it to the troop. I totally understand.
If we establish that Vezi has the site, by the way, yeah, and do we want to take her with us?
No. Adewale would not let you do that.
No,
I'm just wondering. I mean, we can only do.
Have you not seen Vezi's adorable picture? Is this the person you want to take down into the terrifying well?
She's pretty adorbs. I would like to not see this NPC killed with our failed planning.
It's fair.
Do you want to be the one to explain the Gooey Cube Discord that you got Vezi killed in the old well?
No, not particularly.
I love that that's what scared Phil. Ooh, social media, no.
Love it.
Yeah, that's reasonably adorable. But a bit of sight would be great. And since we don't have Moore's girlfriend with us,
the best NPC in the party, we always fail to bring her with us.
That's right. Okay, let's do this. I would ask Vezi if she'd have any suggestions if we get to the bottom of this well. What is she seeing, and what does she think we'll see?
Vezi, you see the wheels turning your mind. It's like there's lots of those bad blankets. Don't let them squeeze you. I know they're squeezing the man right now, but he has some time, I think. But I wouldn't want to get in that blanket.
Cool.
I think Nevitz is looking straight at Moore, just to see like if anything, like if Moore has any reactions of like all of a sudden she's having visions or nothing. Just mad at being where she's at in life.
Yeah, Moore just looks at you, blink, just angry. She just looks pissed off.
Okay, yeah.
And Nevitz, we step over the cliff. Apparently everyone trusts Nevitz's magic to work, and we feather fall down.
With a leap of faith, 5 of the zatis jump into the well, the magic of the Everflow lightening the pull of gravity so that you come down, and as you descend there, the bottom, you feel this dank smell assaulting your nostrils as your boots all squelch at the bottom of this. You get this green muck there. And you see that there's actually this small stone cave there, carefully hidden by the construction of this well. And as you hear your own breathing around you within this tight, cramped chamber, you can see where the passageway actually extends out beyond to some sort of labyrinth. And as you gaze into the darkness of this labyrinth, up at the top of the well, hear Vezi call out, "I heard a bird!" And the sound of jingling coins as footsteps run off into the woods.
Onward?
Yeah.
Well, at least she's going to safety.
Well, she's going to tell the whole crew what's going on. That's great.
That will be fine.
Nevitz wants to cast light on... does Moore have a weapon of choice or no?
Yeah, she has her wooden quarterstaff.
He asks Moore if it's okay for him to either put the spell on her staff or her belt, and he wants Nevitz and Luthander to go to the edge of the light where we can just barely see. So, leave the light behind us and have the stealthy guys as far forward, but using the lights to see something, because I don't have dark vision. I don't think Luthander does either.
No dark vision.
So we just kind of want to stay at the edge of the light on Moore, but leave Moore and the rest of the party back as we stealth forward, if that makes sense, Nate?
Yep, that makes total sense.
We want all of the gain with none of the negative of using light in a dungeon.
Nope, I totally understand.
Wait, there are negatives? I had no idea.
And as you get yourself oriented, somewhere down the tunnel in front of you, you hear this strange, scritching, echoing noise, like something scraping rhythmically along the walls.
It sounds like a fight.
Mental note, all of us have our weapons drawn. Nate, calling it now.
Weapons drawn, okay. So now that does mean, though, that Lathander may have to set aside his staff.
Well, I take everything back. I'm not going to force this upon us, because if I lose a staff leaning Luthander, I've lost the entire party. So, let me rephrase. Nevitz has his scimitar drawn.
Luthander would have carefully placed his staff on the ground and drawn his weapon upon landing. There's no question about that.
Knowing Luthander loves leaning on his staff.
Yeah, he does like leaning on his staff, but he likes staying alive as well.
Adwale would pick it up and strap it to his back somehow, carry it with him. But also has his great sword drawn and ready to go.
Yeah, thanks, mate. Appreciate it.
Nevitz and Luthander will stealth up.
Okay. As this goes, Jericho, give me a perception check.
All right. That is a third. No, it's 15.
15. Okay. Proceeding down here, you catch the strange glint of something metal at your feet, and you can see that stuck into the mud, like it's been dropped and then trampled on. You can spy 2 gold coins. And give me a history check real quick while you're at it.
Oh, 17.
17. And the coins are stamped with the city seal of Darkenhaven, the capital of the Republic of Zaranthia, and the largest city in the region, but also not particularly close to the town of Nevermore, where you are right now.
I'll pick up the coin.
2 coins.
2 coins.
For the listening audience, that was a really good visual joke of holding up a second coin.
And then, above my head, what do you guys make of these? This, scroll appears, and got the 2 coins in my hands.
This seems distinct from whatever drop point was above. I feel the drop point above was just a basic cachet. This seems to be other machinations. Maybe associated, but different.
And the only thing I would say to that is, as a veteran of the Global War on Terror, you should know the proper pronunciation is cache.
First of all, both are acceptable by the Webster English Dictionary. It can be a cache or a cachet. It depends on pronunciation. Both are acceptable.
All right, we got a
Not at this table.
going here.
Proceed.
Okay, so we're up ahead.
Okay, so after that passive-aggressive nerd fight, let's move on with the storyline.
Yeah, everyone knows the pronunciation is, whatever. Sorry, bad joke. Yeah, couldn't help it. Okay.
Everyone turns on Phil.
It was hilarious, and it's native Australian.
Yeah. We can't pronunciate things down here. So we're ranging ahead a little.
Yeah, at the edge of the light on Moore's belt loop.
So as you do range ahead, you see what looks to be an area of worked stone that seems to be of some ancient manufacture. You come across, it looks like there's cracks in the floor and a layer of dust, and there's scuffed areas with long series of drag marks that cut through the impressions in the dust. And you see that the passage seems to head off fairly significantly ahead of you. This long, echoing room that smells with this faint, artificial, alchemical stink. Like something that doesn't belong in a forest at all. Something that makes your nostrils burn as you inhale it. The air around you feels chill but humid at the same time, almost like it's ready to have condensation form at any moment.
I assume the foot traffic is less than what we saw above, but is there a way for us to do a check to see how often this foot traffic is, when the last time it happened, so on and so forth?
And whether it looks like it's a person being dragged, like their feet dragging.
So it appears that the first thing you notice is you don't actually see footprints per se, just the long drag marks down the center of the corridor, and then strange scuffs elsewhere, almost like someone was swinging an axe repeatedly in wild, erratic directions. And you see where at the very end of the passageway, there's this door hanging on its hinges, about to give way, with this purplish smoke pooling around like mist at the bottom of it. And the passage then cuts off in both directions at a T intersection, one heading left and one heading right.
That's a slightly terrifying piece of artwork, is what I will say.
The long corridor with a T intersection. At the center is the dilapidated door with the purple mist, and then the passageway off to your left and your right.
I mean, Nevitz would look to Luthander to say, hold here and let the party catch up, and then we'll discuss what the way ahead is. And, after Moore and Jericho and Adwale show, do we press ahead? Do we take left, right, through the doors? Moore, at the risk of you shooting me a dirty look, do you have any insights as to which direction we should go?
So Luthander would say to Moore, keep in mind, any information we get might result in us not being dead soon. The alive side of things is great to hang on to, yeah. What's said in the cave stays in the cave. Sorry, the dark passage.
Sure. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Let me just. Yeah. Hey. Here we go. Moore doesn't know how to enact the sight, so she's just gonna close her eyes and just.
As the other Zatis are looking to Moore for some sort of guidance, which one of you is the closest to the T intersection?
Probably Nevitz or Luthander. You want to roll a d20? Highest one is closest.
Okay, done.
16.
3.
I'm really close to the door.
So Nevitz is so close. Nevitz, give me a perception check.
Wish I had that 16 back. Okay. Natural 4 on the die for 6.
6. Okay. So Nevitz, while the rest of the conversation is going around, you get that burning stink in your nostrils, and you feel the hairs in your nose tingle with that acrid like the chemical stink all around you. And you realize that whatever this purplish mist is appears to be the source of the smell.
Can I do an arcana or some way to see if this smoke is actually dangerous to my friends?
Sure.
12 on the die for a 15 on arcana.
So it appears that this chemical strange stink does seem to have some strange property to it, but it looks like whatever it is has dissipated and been diluted significantly over time and being spread out of the area. But you do sense very deeply, from the thrum, almost like a sense of anguish in the Everflow itself. Spending a prolonged amount of time in this mist is probably not going to be great for your health.
Nevitz backtracks to the party and relays as such. By canon, he doesn't wear a shirt, and that's in my artwork, so that's a true thing. He's just like, we need to extract whoever or whatever we're going to extract soon. There's no immediate danger, but prolonged exposure to this purple mist will be dangerous.
Okay. Luthander looks pointedly at Moore now and says, okay, you were going to say, we're going to have to move fast. What can you tell us?
What do you know?
Come on.
Moore looks at Luthander, points her finger at him. Only this one time, okay? And she closes her eyes. She doesn't know how to use this new gift, so she's just pulling a Hail Mary of closing her eyes and just thinking in her head, you want to bother me? Here I am. What do we do?
All right, give me a wisdom check.
Okay, just straight wisdom.
Straight wisdom.
Oof, 7.
So you close your eyes and you beg something to come to you. As you're squeezing so hard, you can almost feel the stars forming behind your eyelids. You hear this voice whimpering out there. Oh, oh, oh.
Do I hear what direction it's coming from?
It sounds like it's coming from the left side of this intersection.
I open my eyes and I look at Luthander and give him a smile and a nod. To the left!
Luthander says, excellent, thank you, and that's definitely the only time except for the next time that we'll ask. Come on, please. Let's just go.
We're going, Nate.
Let's do it.
Okay, easy enough. So, as you come down the passageway, you make your way past that strange, stinking, antiseptic mist smell. And you see where looks like the passageway opens up a bit, widening to maybe about 15 feet up from where it had previously been just wide enough for you to walk in a file. You see that here in this larger space, all along the left side of the wall, someone has inset 5 skulls in alcoves there. They're all plated in the mystical dark silver, and their mouths are all open, almost as if they're caught mid-laugh in some sort of macabre joke. And you see that there's symbols above the alcove, carved into the stone. A black moon on a purple circle, pupilless blue-white eye on a black square, a black and purple river that flows inside a square of gray, a bright red kiss mark on a black square, and a dripping white fang in a circle of red. And then set in the wall below the alcoves is a copper bowl with a hole in its bottom. And above the basin are 5 words: give a gold to receive that which is greater than gold.
Wait, that's not 5 words. I don't want to push back. That's not 5 words. What's happening?
No, above the basin are the words: give a gold to receive that
I
which is greater than
swear to
gold.
God, I thought you said 5 words. Okay, got it.
I'm gonna flip a gold, like one of the, coins.
Okay.
Like,
And so Jericho flips the coin, and it lands perfectly in the basin. And as it does, all the skulls begin to speak in unison. 5 points set on a wall of stone, a secret there to learn. Listen well of what we speak, the answer to discern. The highest place is day's dark night, her greatness over all. To the east is living death, who heeds this dark lord's call. Below and left the Sade's delight, her passion burns within. Sister to the right of her, she brews the deadly sin. From the west the dark flow runs, the blackest spell is cast. Give due to them their rightful place, or this could be your last.
I think as before, Nevitz just goes up to Jericho and opens up his journal and just kind of gives Jericho the look of repeat. And if Jericho's willing to go over the exact verbatim in the voice several times, Nevitz will get down the exact script as it was.
so I open my mouth
delivered.
and what's the
It's
sound?
still unnerving every time Jericho does it. Just repeat, and we get it.
Yeah. Record
As
player
you're repeating
goes.
this, who is farthest down the passageway?
Oh God, probably Ade pulling up the rear.
Oh, you mean furthest ahead or furthest behind?
Furthest ahead.
Oh,
Well,
as a
it's
fun-
probably.
Can I just say? I just want to put it in there. Like thought did go through the mind of Nevitz as we finally opened up and we got out of this squeezed hallway. Was like, thank God, Ade will be able to do a full swing once we get into the 15-foot hallways. Because like, if Ade is squeezing, that's like the worst thing in the world. But that said, I will defer to who is further ahead because I think Nevitz went straight back to get the words. So I don't know who's in the lead. It's
Well,
probably
Luthander's
not
probably
Nevitz.
standing there. Yeah.
Yeah.
If we were taking the lead, it's probably Luthander.
Lathander. All right then, Lathander. Give me a perception check, if you please.
Oh, gee.
You got this. You do, Phil.
That's 4 plus 7, 11.
Okay.
4 plus 7, 11. Okay. As the skulls give their chant, and as Nevitz runs over to Jericho to begin writing all this down, Lathander, you hear that echoing scritch sound that seems to be getting closer, coming from the passageway ahead of you.
The one to the left that we just went down. Yeah, okay.
Hey guys, I just remembered something. I don't know if this is a good time to bring this up. You remember our other prophecy that we received the other day? Something about, rot decay from the deep, screaming silence, somber truth behind black stone, shadowed mist, seek your path. Does that kind of remind you of where we are right now?
And as Moore asks that question, does Lathander turn his head back to look at her? There's no wrong answer.
There's no right answer.
Yeah. This is bad no matter what. Luthander would turn to look.
Okay, yep.
Glance,
Understandable.
at least.
Who's the second furthest down the passageway?
Considering how everyone was probably grouped up around the basin, Adwale would probably be among the group, maybe ahead, maybe behind. It just depends on where everyone else is. But he'd be somewhere where he was able to get to the back of the group or the front of the group in a short amount of time.
Are you asking who's probably closest to Lathander or closest to the back of the group?
Close to Lathander right now.
Okay.
And by the way, it's just a glance back because I'd be pretty focused on that weird noise. But hey, I'm a teenager. I'm easily distracted.
Okay, so
I'm
so
hearing more
a
speaking.
glance back, but nobody else is watching Point overly at the moment. So Lathander is still then the first one as he takes the glance back to Moore.
I I suspect Nevitz and Jericho are like doing
Busy,
their thing on the side, so I assume it's either going to be
It's Lathander.
Adewale.
It's all. This is all Lathander.
It's-
then. So,
yeah, but I suspect it's either Adewale or Moore who's closest, because I think Jericho and Nevitz are kind of like busily doing this several times.
Adewale is making trying his best to divide his attention between the rear and the front where Lathander is.
Yeah, I imagine Moore, when she was putting together the prophecy from earlier, was just kind of like walking around, like looking around and repeating it in her head once the skull spoke. So she's probably like maybe close to Lathander and Jericho and Nevitz.
So Lathander, as Moore repeats the snippets from the prophecy again, and Moore, if you would do us the favor of repeating that one more time for Lathander's benefit.
Okay, Durot's decay comes from the deep, screaming silence, a night sky, a somber truth behind black stone, shadowed mist. Take your pick.
As Moore reminds Lathander of this, that scraping sound becomes too loud to really ignore, and at Lathander, as you manage to look back towards the front of the passageway, you see the source of the noise, and it is something that in the dark you might mistake for a spider, except it's the spider the size of roughly a large dog, about 3 to 4 feet long, with legs that almost look like bone, and its eyes glow with a sickly green light, and its face, rather than having the typical gnarled chelicerae of a spider mouth, looks almost disturbingly human as its slathering toothed maw opens in your direction. And that is where we'll end. And come back next week to find out if the prophecy is true.
Moore is going through the worst sophomore year ever.
Moore's doing great. Moore's killing it.
She's fine, but I mean, it's so awkward.
Moore's doing great. Everyone
I feel
everyone
like-
is doing great.
Hate it here.
Here, no one likes me.
Things are fine.
It's fine.
Hey everybody, thanks for joining us on Visions Veiled and Violent, a D&D actual play of Gooey Cube's darkest dream adventure from Red Star Rising campaign. All artwork, names, locations, and characters from the dark world of Zyathe are the sole property of Gooey Cube and used with permission. Check out all their maps, adventures, and other original content at gooeycube.com. A special thank you to Tabletop Audio for providing the fantastic music that accompanied this episode. As ever, if you enjoyed what you heard today, please like, rate, and subscribe to us wherever you get your podcast. And if you really enjoyed what you heard, please consider subscribing to our Patreon at the $3 tier. Your support keeps the torches lit and the dice rolling, ensuring that our adventures continue to unfold. Remember, you don't know the burden others have carried to arrive at your gaming table, so be kind. Safe travels until next week, when we return to Visions Veiled and Violent.